What is up guys, Niko here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And for today's video, I am going to talk about the SwitchPod. Alright, so if you are a follower of the channel, you know that at around January of this year, I purchased a new tabletop tripod or a vlogging tripod, which is the SwitchPod. Before this, I was using the Manfrotto Pixi Mini, which is my favorite tripod or tabletop tripod or vlogging tripod, if there is such a category. I've used this mainly when I had my A6400, but when I got the A7S3, I had to switch to a different tripod, which, the reason I will discuss later in the video. Now, since I am, I think, late to the game of reviewing this thing, there's a ton of, reviews, like the more technical reviews of the SwitchPod. I will just, give you a quick video of my experience using this as compared to when I am using the Manfrotto Pixi Mini. There's some things I miss with the Pixi Mini, but, with the new camera, with a bigger full frame body, there are things that, I consider that's why I switched to the SwitchPod. So first off, let's discuss the differences. Obviously, as you can see, the SwitchPod is so much taller than the Manfrotto Pixi Mini. It is bigger, it is taller, it's heavier, sturdier, stronger. The build quality is very far from each other. The Manfrotto Pixi Mini, although if you compare it with the other tripods in its category, it is sturdy, it is, built well, but I think it's built with hard plastic. Whereas the SwitchPod, the legs at least are made out of metal, and if there are plastic parts, it's the other parts that's not holding the weight of your setup. Another difference between the two is how they open and how they collapse. The Manfrotto Pixi Mini is just like the other tripods, wherein there is a hinge wherein you open the legs of the tripod, and then when you collapse, the legs will go back to the center. While in the SwitchPod, if you want to collapse the legs, you will have to turn this whole thing around and put the legs beside each other where they stick together using magnets in the bottom part of the tripod. So when I was looking for a new tripod, two things were the most important thing for me. Number one is it can handle the A7S3, and number two is the ergonomics or ease of use while using it for vlogging, while using it to film myself. So I'm going to show you how I use both the SwitchPod and the Pixi Mini, so you can see my decision-making process, why I went with this and why I love this for my new setup and why I couldn't use this anymore. Well, not that I couldn't, but it's safer to use this than the Pixi Mini. All right, now talking about the ergonomics of the SwitchPod, as you can see, its handle, when it's collapsed, has this angled part wherein it makes your camera farther from you. So you could, if you have a wide angle lens, you could just hold it elbows tucked in, and it gives you enough separation from your lens and your face. So you're looking right now at what the view is from my A7S3, so you don't see me reaching out. This is, you know, just me with my elbows tucked, and it's a nice view. It's a nice angle for vlogging. It's a comfortable way to hold your camera. I'll show you how I vlogged before with my Manfrotto Pixi Mini. All right, so now I'm on my Manfrotto Pixi Mini, as you can see. And if I hold this the same way as I held the SwitchPod, it's not the same angle. I have to raise my arm up. Also, I have to like stretch it a bit. This is my go-to mini tripod when I had the A6400. I still love this because of the quick release ball head. You could angle it quickly, like just pressing a button. One reason why I bought a new mini tripod or tabletop tripod and went with a SwitchPod is because the strength of this ball head could not handle the A7S III in some angles. The first day I had the A7S III, this almost fell because it was angled not in a straight way, and the Manfrotto Pixi Mini could not handle the weight of the A7S III in some angles. So that's one advantage of the SwitchPod. It can hold heavier setups. Yeah, but you know, still love this Pixi Mini tripod. All right, so now let's talk ease of use of the SwitchPod and compared with the Manfrotto Pixi Mini. So for the Pixi Mini, I really love this mini tripod. When I bought the A6400, I really looked for this specific tripod because number one, this button is really so convenient. Just push it and the ball head can be adjusted, and when you release it, the ball head locks into place. So that is so convenient when you want to get a shot quickly. You have to angle the ball head of your tripod to get that perfect angle. This comes in so handy in those situations. And you know, you just open it, close it. That's pretty much how you use this Manfrotto Pixi Mini. For the SwitchPod, you don't have like this collapsing legs going into the center. You transform this into a handheld tripod. Is that a thing? Handheld tripod. By pushing one side and, you know, putting all three legs together, making this angled shape. And what I like about this is the SwitchPod really intended this to be handheld. As you can see, there are grooves for the fingers here. So they really intended this to be held for vlogging or filming yourself. So that's one pretty good feature of the SwitchPod. Now, the SwitchPod doesn't come with a ball head, but you could also order a SwitchPod ball head. I got a ball head separately from another store. This is an Andor ball head. I went with this because it has a heavier payload than the SwitchPod's ball head. Unlike the Manfrotto Pixi Mini, this uses a traditional way of loosening or tightening the ball head when you want to change its angle. Not a big deal for me, but you know, it's a slower process compared to the Manfrotto Pixi Mini. Would I prefer that? Of course, but you know, this is not a deal breaker. I think only the Manfrotto Pixi Mini and the Joby Handy Pod has that feature. One thing, when this was newly released, I keep on seeing people on YouTube just, you know, whipping this out to set up their tripod like this and putting it down. And when they want to pick it up again, just get it and whip it back like this. And you know, it was I don't know if it was really a marketing tactic of SwitchPod to have people do that, but when you have the A7S III mounted on this tripod, you know, for some reason I really get nervous doing that. Like the weight and probably knowing the cost of the camera that's on the SwitchPod, it's not that comfortable whipping out the SwitchPod like that. The camera gets whipped along with it. You know, I know it's tightly mounted via the Arca Swiss plate, but still, you know, the nerves, it's not a good feeling. Also, when whipping it back like that, imagine, you know, your camera is being whipped like that as well. So yeah, I pass up on that way of setting up the SwitchPod when the A7S III is mounted on here. So, you know, I just open it normally like that, set it down. When I'm done, pick the whole thing up and do this. All right, so that is the quick review, the quick comparison video of my SwitchPod and the Manfrotto Pixi Mini. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It will help the channel greatly. And if you like the content here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you'll get notified when I upload new videos here on the channel. Also, like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.